Formaffinity,
where design takes form.
Hey guys, welcome to the final installment of the Pebble speakers sketch and rendering. In this video I will be using Affinity Photo. You could also use Photoshop, it's very similar. You could also probably use GIMP. So getting started, you can see this is the finished rendering from our last video. If I display by hitting Control R the rulers, I'm just going to right click and go to inches. You can see that's our original 11 by 17 piece of paper. So first thing I want to do is extend this wire. So I'm going to, over in the layers, copy and paste that original main layer. And we will create a selection with the marquee tool. Something kind of like that, and I'm going to go to select, invert pixel selection, and then with the eraser tool, let me turn off this bottom layer. And so with this layer selected, I'm just going to delete, get rid of the assistant, delete everything that we don't need. And then Control D to deselect, and then turn on that background layer once again. And now I will just move it into place. And resize it a bit. With that taken care of, we can select that layer and with our erase tool get rid of the harsh line around it. I just have my opacity for the eraser set to 30. And I'm holding shift while I click. That will create an erase all the way across the 2 points where I click. And then so all that's needed now is to fix this little area. So what I like to do is just combine all my layers into one. I can turn both of these off. Select the clone stamp. And a source piece of paper here, and just finesse. And then using the healing brush tool, we can kind of clean up this little line here. Okay, now we're ready to crop this. I'm just going to hit C. I know that I need to bring it up a little bit because the scan ends actually kind of here. I'll match this space and this space. So something like that. Looks good. Now we're ready for our first levels adjustment. So I'm going to come down into adjustments, click on levels. I will bring the black level over to match the little graph here. You can see that makes it a little bit too dark in some areas. So I'll bring gamma down, say about 0.8. And We can just close that. Next we can do a curves adjustment. So I'll come in here, select curves. And what I like to do is create 3 points. One in the middle, one down here, and one up here. And we can pull down our midtones a little bit. I want to bring up my darks just a hair. And bring up the lights, the light areas. So we create just a little curve in this, kind of a little S curve. And you can see sort of smooths out the gray area a bit and also deepens our blue in the background. So that's off and then on. Now I'm ready to come in here and basically fix up some of these little areas. So I will be using the clone brush tool and the healing brush tool. So first I'm going to copy that layer. And some of the areas like in here, up around the corner and the edges. Also some of this painterly effect I'll smooth out on the base of the speaker. Some of these kind of harsher lines. So I'll go ahead and speed up the video while I do that, and you guys can sort of see what I'm doing there. Okay, so I'm going to rename this to Cleanup. So that's our cleanup layer. As you saw, I also hit some of the white page just to get rid of some of the dirt and the finger marks and whatnot. I want to deepen some of where that inner speaker part is. So I'm going to create an adjustment layer, brightness and contrast. Bring down the brightness just a bit. Bring up the contrast. And I'm just going to go to Edit, Fill that in with black. And now, using white with the paintbrush, set your opacity however you like. Start with 10 maybe. And just paint in that area. Looks like we need to boost this up. Let's try 40%. So what this is going to do is just kind of set these down into the speaker just a bit, so you can see the difference there. Helps quite a bit. Now I want to do sort of the same thing with some of these specular highlighted areas. So adjustment layer, brightness, contrast. But this time we're going to bump up the brightness and bump up the contrast. And then go to edit, fill in with black. And then just come back and paint these highlights a bit brighter. Okay, so you can see the result of that. Just gives it a little boost. Now I want to brighten some of the sort of the face area here. So once again, brightness, contrast. And fill it with black, and we can just come in and paint with white. Now I'm wanting these inner speaker part to be a little bit more gold throughout, so I'm just going to source this color with the eyedropper tool. Okay, so I have it here. I'm going to create a new layer, and with my paintbrush, I'm just going to come on here and start painting that color. It looks like I got the wrong color selected here. Let me grab the appropriate color. Okay. Okay, so multiply is not bad. Kind of like color burn. I think color burn is probably the best. So you can kind of see the difference there. And of course I want to lower the opacity. Get a blend of the two. So that just bumps up our saturation for that inner gold or sort of brass speaker area. Maybe slightly brighter. So this cut line brightness on the edge is a little bit too bright. So same with here. I'll go in there and sort of darken that and give a little bit of a gradation as it comes to the front of the speaker. And then also work on the volume knob and add some variation in tone. So now with this second cleanup layer selected, I can come in here and adjust how much I want that to all show up. Say around 70%. Okay. And now sort of the last thing I like to do on top of everything is add a vibrance layer. Just to give everything a little bit of a color boost. You could even bump up the saturation. As you can see, I don't want to go too high on this. So just very subtle saturation and vibrance boost. Okay. All right, that concludes this tutorial series. We went through the process of modeling NURBS surfaces curves to get our line work, and then we walked you through the steps for creating a sort of old school VisCom rendering, and then we finished off with Affinity Photo and the touch-ups. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this series, and we will see you in the next video. Take care.